All right, John here with 18 inches down. All right, guys, I wanted to talk about something super important. And first of all, just let me say this. Thanks so much for the feedback I've gotten already with this podcast. This is something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. I've done other podcasts and other things, but this is something that is very crucial, I think, for where we're at in this current awakening that we're in. Whether you realize it or not, we are in a full-blown awakening in humanity. And particularly wanted to focus towards the men. Now, if women watch this, that's great too, because they can tell their men about it. But this podcast does focus towards the conscious man, those that are waking up and becoming more conscious. It means more present, more living in the now than the past, or longing for a better future. And so what I wanted to share tonight is the subject around money not showing up. This varies for many people. Some people that are watching, listening to this podcast have a lot of money. They don't have to worry about it. Or they have a lot of money and they are worried about losing it. Then there's some people that just don't have it, and everything they do seems to create more of a resistance, if you will, so that it's not really showing up, or it just slips out of your fingers. And you're like, what the heck happened? Where did my money go? Where did it go? And it just seems to disappear from your life. You're not trying to make it disappear. You're not trying to have holes in your pocket. It just happens that way, right? Well, I can tell you this for certain. Speaking from direct experience, I can tell you that there is a testing, if you will, going on right now worldwide. And part of the reason that's taking place is to see if you are going to stay steadfast in the energy level that you're currently at, with holding hope, but beyond hope, anchoring the energy that actually magnetizes it to our lives. This is not woo-woo, hokey-pokey, weird, fake stuff here. This is reality, because everything's energy. If we believe that everything's energy, like science tells us that it is energy, and we can posture ourselves in a higher level of that matches good money flowing into our life, then we'll start to see it trickle in and then rush in. But it requires us becoming like water. Like Bruce Lee said, we become water, you become flexible, and we don't become rigid to the point to where we're pigeonholing God, we're pigeonholing the energy around us and the spirit in us and around us, to say that it has to show up a certain way, a certain amount, and we're counting on this, or else what are our options? We're going to go back to our addictions, or if it doesn't show up, I'm going to be so angry and depressed that I don't know, I'm going to hurt somebody or hurt something. It's not like we have an or else in the time we're living in, because you can't get away with it, and you know it. Neither can I. As frustrated, disappointed, angry as we get, it's like we can't even go there anymore. And I would love to hear back from you on that, and say, yeah, that's me. In other words, if something doesn't show up a certain way that I thought it was going to show up, then I just can't go there anymore like I used to. And why is that? It's because you have awakened and ascended and expanded to the point to where you've left that negative energy. You've left those lower frequencies, and you've arrived at another place. It's called awakening. And because you've awakened to the point that you have awakened, everybody's at different levels of this, but because you have, then you look back and you're like, I can't go back there. I can't touch that again, because it just does not work anymore. That's the same way with formulas. We've had formulas for so long that we've applied. We've had this tactic and this technique, and it's worked for a time, but that's 3D formulation. That's 3D tactics and strategies that just don't serve us well and don't really work anymore in our favor like they used to. Why? because we're moving to a different place. We're ascending to a greater level of effortless flow. And we're going to be tested in that transition. It's almost like moving from 3D to 5D. 4D is where the testing goes on. So it seems like nothing's happening. It seems like you've done everything wrong. It seems like you've made a horrible mistake. It seems like you just can't get it together no matter what you do, no matter which way you turn. It's just not working anymore. If that's you, please comment. Let me know. Because you're not alone. There's many, many people going through this, including myself. And so if we see it for what it is, I mean, it's almost laughable the way that this is taking place, isn't it? Because you're losing money over here. You can't get anything to show up over here. It's like you're doing all of the things that the gurus tell you to do, and it's just not quite working for you. What's left? Throw your hands in the air and just say, okay, I am going to anchor the energy that I'm at, the frequency that I'm at, the level that I'm at right now, because I can't go backwards and it seemingly can't go, quote, forwards. So I am right here in this place called now. Beautiful. That's where we need to be, is in the place called now. So what's happening is we're being confronted and tested with this so that we can anchor the now. As difficult and as challenging that is for our programs inside of us, the subconscious programming, in part and as a greater part of the whole, that's what's happening. I can tell you that for certain. And when you're believing for a certain amount, you're not even really allowed energetically to go there anymore, are you? Because it's like this. Let me give this, let's break this down where the rubber hits the road. Very practical. Say that you're believing for a certain amount for a certain bill to be paid, like $150, it's insurance, and you lost your job or you can't get a job, can't find work, there's no work showing up, and you can't get, the unemployment has eluded you for some reason. And so you are in this place of what somebody in the 3D environment would say very desperate. But you know better. You know that something is going to show up in a way that you never expected. And so you are sitting there going, okay, I know that something's going to work out some way, somehow. See, we can't look at ourselves as if we haven't made it yet, or it's like we're doing something wrong. We can't look at ourselves and say, this isn't working. In other words, when we're hard on ourselves, what we're doing is offering resistance, and we're putting it out there going, this something's going on here, something's wrong. And then if we're not careful, then we'll just kind of shrink down to this place, not really going backwards, because the spirit will not allow it. So you just kind of shrunk down going, okay, I'm feeling a little numb right now. I really don't know what to do. Some people would call this ascension sickness or ascension symptoms. So it's different for everyone, but if you're feeling any sort of that, what I just mentioned, please hit me up in the comments and let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback, because I'm hearing from people in different parts of the world, this is what's taking place. Money's not showing up for a reason. It's the big test in between the ascended levels. And if you want to look at it like 4D being a hallway to moving into this effortless ability where it's magnetized to your life, because now you've ascended past this 3D hard work, sweating it out, trying to hammer it out or formalize it out. And that doesn't work. You've worn yourself out. And so now you're in this place in between going, interesting place to be. I've never been here before. How many can say that? I've never been here before. So because you've never been here before, it's really an unusual place to be, because you're not used to it. And that's a good thing, because it keeps you in the present moment, or at least it's trying to get you to be in the present moment. In other words, the only place God is and God shows up in his fullness is here and now, in the current present now. Can God be in all places? Is he omniscient, omnipresent? in the past, in the future, right here. Yeah, he can be all things, but God decides, hey, I am anchored inside of you. I'm one with you. You are one with me. And so this is the place we show up in reality. This is the here and the now. This is the present moment. And so I want you to be present with me. See, there's an old scripture that says that give us this day our daily bread. Doesn't say weekly bread, doesn't say yearly bread, doesn't mean provision for 5 years. It means give us this day our daily bread, our daily sustenance, our daily provision, whatever that may be, food, money, anything that we need, supply. It's the only space and time that we have breath is right here, right now. And the provision is daily. So let me ask you this. It's nighttime where I'm at. Did you, if it happens to be nighttime where you're at, or it doesn't matter, whatever time of day, are you still alive and breathing? Well, of course you are if you're listening to this. Did you have what was necessary today without your preconceived ideas of what it should be or should have been? Were you sustained today? Well, if you have breath in your lungs, yes, you were. So the expectations are being removed because expectations was the way and is the way of 3D living. It's anchoring in this low level of frequency, low vibration. And so when it's anchored in the low, that's what we do. We fight for everything. After all, God isn't going to take care of me. Nobody else is going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of me kind of mentality. But because humanity is going like this, is ascending, is awakening, is moving up because God cannot help himself anymore. It's like he's helping us now. And this is an authentic awakening. Authentically awakened is what's happening to us. It's not coerced. It's not manipulated. It's not forced. It is an authentic, genuine rising. And because that's happening to humanity right now, those that enter into it and recognize it, those are the ones that are being trained, being a little tested right now, but they're being trained and developed internally, whether you realize it or not, so that you can acclimate, just like you're climbing up Mount, or being carried up Mount Everest, in other words, no longer climbing because that's 3D. You're being carried up in the spirit. You have to acclimate to that oxygen. So the testing and the nothing really happening, and let's see what John's going to do or you're going to do with this new place that you found yourself in. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to go backwards? Well, you can't really. I mean, you could because you have free will and you're powerful to choose, but you're something in you is like, no, that's not the way. I can't go back there because that almost killed me. So now I'm in this strange place, this odd place that doesn't feel like I have the shoes on correctly, or it doesn't mean it just feels like the shoes aren't fitting real comfortably, I should say. But I know that they're going to break in. That leather, that expensive leather on the shoes is going to break in, and they are going to fit perfectly the more I stand in them in the current now. And when we start to feel this comfortability, then we get to ascend to go, okay, now the proving ground is over, and I get to see the dawn of day. I get to break through into this new place, and wow, things are showing up. This is called heart coherence, but it takes a minute for your head to adjust to the spirit leading, your heart leading now, where the ego and the head have been leading your life up until this point in the 3D world, because was survival, right? It is survival in 3D realities. Fight, flight, and freeze. That's what you repeated every single day when you got up to go to that job you couldn't stand. And so it's new oxygen. It's new acclimation as we ascend the mountain, so to speak. As we ascend spiritually, as we awaken spiritually, this thing is going to acclimate, and you're going to be able to breathe that crisp, clean air of the spirit called magnetism, called effortlessness. That's 18 inches down, by the way. It's kind of this dichotomy of up and down, ascension, quote, descension, because we drop 18 inches down, we drop into this heart-centered space in this spirit reality, the bigness of who we are in this multidimensional world. but yet we're ascending at the same time. The more we drop in, the more we ascend. It's almost like a base jumper, if you're familiar with base jumping at all, skydiving, base jumping, when they bail off of a cliff and then a gust of wind comes and picks them up in that squirrel suit. Squirrel suits are those suits that the base jumpers put on. You see them on these wild videos and they're just flying through the air like a flying squirrel. That's a squirrel suit. And then the gust of wind comes and picks you up as you drop in over the cliff. Drop in to be picked up. That is saying I'm surrendering and taking the risk, even though I can't see what's below me. Even if I feel like nothing's there to pick me up, rest assured the wind is there every single time. And the wind of the Spirit, the wind of love, will pick us up and take us to the next place. Guys, this has to happen, and it is happening because the egoic leadership, the egoic way of doing things in the world, of creating wars just to gain financially in different countries and different mindsets and different rulers, that mentality, that dictatorship mentality, that masculine energy that walks all over everyone, does not work anymore, and it's not serving humanity. So something is happening right now to bring us to this new place. So as it relates to money, and if the money's not showing up, that's in part what's going on. And I think you know that deep in your spirit, deep in your heart, if you would just sit and listen. Listen with your heart right now. Listen with your spirit right now, and you're going to see and feel and know that, yeah, this is proving ground right now. This is testing ground. You know, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but when somebody's building a beautiful car like a Bugatti or a McLaren or some kind of super sports car, it takes a minute to build that car. And it's said in certain types of vehicles that are very, very well built and expensive, an exotic car, like a Bentley, for example, takes like 8 hour full day just to wrap a steering wheel. And there's one person that does it. To wrap that steering wheel full day for one car. And so imagine what everything else takes. And so it takes a minute. It takes a minute for us to acclimate, for us to be proven in this. And that's when the good stuff starts showing up and it starts working for us instead of against us. You know, when you look back and just look at Adam, if you read the story about Adam and Eve, you'll find out that there was a whole lot of 5D and beyond living going on, pure spirit, before the fall. And what does it say? It says that the ground yielded its strength to Adam. What does that mean? It means when he was practicing presence, practicing living in the here and the now, being with God, having a blast, having fun, and that great loving relationship in oneness, then everything was working for Adam because he was completely present in that oneness. Imagine being absorbed and consumed by unconditional love. That was the atmosphere. And so when you're walking and living and moving in that 5D realm and you've transcended the 3D hard work, egoic, centric led life, and you've let the layers fall off so that you can not only see that this is real living underneath the layers of the soul and the ego that are wounded and traumatized, then you're like, okay, wait a minute. God is not against me. He's for me always. Love is always for me. And because love is always for me, then things show up. It's like I've said on other podcasts. I don't want to make my children work for me in order for me to provide for them. Now, that's a direct contradiction of what a lot of society tells you is supposed to be. You know, the way to go is like, no, when your kids get older, they need to get out and go to work so they can make their own living. Get out of here. Move out. Can't wait for you to leave kind of syndrome, especially in America. Other countries, not so much. They all live together until they'll step into the next realm. They don't find that a taboo. They don't look at that like we do as something that is wrong or off. They look at that like, hey, we love each other, we support each other. And so when you're looking at a situation like that, okay, I don't, as a father, I still want to give free gifts to my kids. I still, I have a grown son and I have a grandson, and they don't have to work for me to want to give them something for free effortlessly. It's just in our nature to do that as a good father or good mother. It's just in our nature. Where did we get that nature from? God. God gave us that nature. It's the 3D environment that we've been entrenched in that says you have to work for everything. But see, we're awakening and transcending into God, into that place that Adam walked in. And the ground around us, no matter what that quote ground is, the matter of things begins to yield its strength to us. And what does that mean? That means that it begins to, all good things begin to be magnified or magnetized rather to our lives and given to us without charge, given to us freely. That, my friends, is what we're entering into, an effortless existence. And so what's going to happen? It's already happening to some people, where you have somebody that's so entrenched and doubling down on their egoic activity, anchored in a 3D environment only, and don't want to enter into anything spiritual. They look at people that get something for nothing. We're not talking about welfare here, guys. That's not what I'm talking about. We're not talking about just these handouts for somebody just laying around and drinking all day or partying all day and then riding the system. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about, they look at somebody that has tremendous favor on their life and things are being added to them while they're in love and engaged in their creative flow, doing what they love. And they're like, whoa, that just happened to that person and they didn't even work for it, man. I know them and something just showed up out of nowhere. They didn't sell a product, they didn't do anything for that, but it just showed up. What's up with that? What happens is we provoke them to jealousy in a good way, provoke them to awaken to say, you too can have this, because everybody has access to this effortless environment that we are now in and moving more into. I really believe that, and so do many others around the globe. And so when money is not showing up in the in between, just know that God does care for you. He hears you. He hears all of your pleas and your cries out to him. But there's a proving ground. And it's not that God is being sadistic in this and withholding. It's us that has to ascend and awaken and rise to that vibration of effortless flow, to awaken to that current, if you will, that jet stream that's always flowing. It's been said like this when it has to do with inventions, for example. Inventions are always flying by us in the spirit, always there, millions upon millions of inventions, good ideas flying by us all the time. You just can't see them with your naked eye. You can't see them with the natural eye, but they are there. It's all around us. It's whoever reaches up and in to the spirit by faith to pull it in is the one who gets the prize, is the one who gets the invention, is the great idea, the Apple phone or the Google, whatever, gets the brilliant idea and brings it down in there. Why? Because they've allowed themselves to receive it. They've allowed themselves to go right into the depth of it and receive it because they, first of all, believed it was there and believed it was possible. So if witty inventions, great inventions are always flying by, which they are, everything's energy, whoever reaches in and pulls it through the imagination and causes it to be a reality by putting inspired action to it is the one who gets the prize. Now, what's interesting about this is, even though all those things are flying by, and maybe you have a brilliant idea, it might not be, quote, time to put your hand to the doing yet. It's just now, right now, you're anchoring into that place of provability so that you can acclimate and actually breathe in the success of that thing. When you put your hands to it, it becomes a wild success. It's no different than somebody putting out videos and have no hits. They're like, I know, they say to themselves, I know I have great content, whatever that may be. I have a great message. People are going to love this, that kind of thing. You're thinking in your mind, not doing that arrogantly or egotistically. You're just going, I just know that I'm tapping into something and people need to hear this, right? But then you've got no hits, and then you have no hits and no hits, no eyeballs, zero hits, and this goes on day after day, week after week, and you're like, what in the world's going on? Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. Again, it's proving ground to see if you're going to stay the course, to see if you're going to stick in it as you ascend, because the more you stay in that quote creative conviction, because you know it's true to your heart, you know it's true north and side, the more you stick with it, the more you stay with it, the more it increases that frequency and that level to raise you up past those orange colors of the resentment and the frustration and the where is it and the worry and the fear, past that, and raises right on up into the different color spectrum. And then you go into the indigo colors, and then you go into the purple. And when you get into that flow, that's when creativity really starts working for you and not against you. That's when provision shows up. That's when epiphanies come out of nowhere. That's when synchronicities happen. That's when divine appointments, people show up with envelopes full of money. People show up and they go, what, hey, I'm buying whatever it is because I love what's coming out of you. And then you go, oh, okay, this is amazing. This is not effort. There's no effort involved. I'm just free flowing now. I'm in the jet stream of life. I'm in the jet stream of favor. And then you can advance from a state of rest, because when you're in your flow, you're at rest. When you're doing what you love, it is no longer sweat and toil and hard work. It is flow. It's like this. I've said this on another podcast. It's like you are sitting in a jet and you're going 600 miles an hour, blasting through the air, and you're at rest, sipping on your drink, eating your food, watching the best movie of all times, and that's right out the window. And you are what? You're not standing up, running back and forth down the tube in the air 30,000 feet. You are sitting in that seat at rest. If, in fact, you know that this is your flow. If you don't know this is your flow and you're trying to anchor into the 3D world just trying to make money, then you're going to panic a little bit. You're going to white knuckle it when turbulence hit. When the plane starts going up and down and dropping in altitude a little bit just by the waves in the ocean, in the air, that's all turbulence are. And when you're flying through, you're going to think, oh my gosh, the plane's going down. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm not sure where I'm headed. And I'm going way too fast here. I don't know what my calling is anymore. I forget it. Well, try getting out of a tube at 30,000 feet, rocketing through the air at 600. You got to wait a minute until you land and then reassess. If in fact you're still vacillating between two realms, you're still vacillating between two opinions, going, should I, shouldn't I don't know if this is even me. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with testing things out. Jump in a jet, you fly from here to San Diego, Florida, Hawaii, wherever you're at in the world, and you're testing, you're trying it out. But just know when to get off that plane. Just know that it's the next stop. If you're feeling panic, do you know what I'm saying? If you're uncertain, you're like, oh, this does not fit me. This is why I don't ever judge somebody that gets a job. They try something out in a new industry and they're like, this isn't for me. And then they quit. Why throw that person under the bus? Wasn't a good fit. That's what 90-day trials are for in America. We have 90-day probationary periods. Most corporate workplaces do 90-day probation. It's for a reason. But we look at that like we shame people if they either quit or get fired before that 90-day period. Well, shouldn't we turn that into gratefulness and gratitude that God spared us? I mean, why is that lack of integrity? If it's just not for us, it's not for us. But that's for a whole nother message. What do you do when the money's not showing up? You anchor in the present moment in peace and rest. Anchor in it. Anchor in it. Anchor in that peace and rest to the best of your ability. And don't worry if you screw something up, you can get right back up. Some people are so worried about messing their energy up or not doing the thing right that it winds up tripping them up. But listen, while you're learning, if you have a child in your household, if you have a toddler and they're still learning to walk, this little baby, in other words, is just now learning to walk, do you berate them and say, what's wrong with you? Why can't you walk faster? And they're just learning to walk. This is what's happening. People are learning this energy game. And they're learning to stand on their two energetic feet, if you will. And none of us should be shaming them in the spiritual community. We shouldn't be shaming anybody like that. Like, you had to start somewhere, Mr. or Mrs. Content Guru. I mean, spiritual guru, you had to start somewhere. So did I. Still learning, still growing, still expanding. That's the exciting part. Because if we don't have our energy just right in a certain moment, we have our moment, right? Throughout the day, we just say, okay, I saw contrast. Now I'm shifting back in. I'm tuning back in. I'm changing the channel again. I'm going back to the frequency. That's me. Authenticity. I'm going back in there. I'm just going to anchor and rest right now. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go out and get a second or third job. I'm just going to allow myself to ascend and awaken here so that I can move to the next level, if you will, in high frequency, high vibration. And then we start matching things. We start tuning in and matching things. It's like the hot air balloon. There's another analogy. It's turning the radio station. Some people have that analogy. Other people, it's like, okay, I'm allowing the hot air balloon to ascend here. Oh, it's a little weighted. I have a sandbag over there. Let's just cut that bad boy, snip it. Boom. There goes the sandbag. Oh, I've just ascended. Oh man, I just went up leaps and I just went up another 500 feet because of that one sandbag. That was a BS belief system that I just adjusted. So now I just popped up another 500 feet, if you will, an expansion. And you know what happens when you start settling in and getting really adventurous and really fun? Like, this is fun and adventurous. Now I'm at peace and rest. I'm anchoring into this, advancing from a place of rest. I'm anchoring in and going, ooh, now you can start looking at all the scenery and enjoying the hot air balloon ride. You start enjoying it because it's not your effort taking that balloon anywhere. It's the hot air. And that's a good kind of hot air. That's a hot air of the spirit. That's a hot air of your authenticity taking you somewhere. So don't get discouraged. You know, if you do get discouraged, great. Don't berate yourself and just say, oh, it's okay to feel this way. But don't ultimately get so discouraged that it takes you out of the game. Just know that this is contrast that you're seeing. Nothing's showing up. It doesn't mean that you couldn't believe just right, or your paradigm was all messed up, or you just, you did what the sad guru said, you did what the guru said, and it doesn't, quote, work for you. No, it works. It's just you're proving, you're massaging this thing out. You're working it in and out of your life, getting used to this new place, getting used to the new skin, if you will, because you're in the 4D hallway that's chaotic, confusing, kind of messy, while you're getting purged from that old mindset, purged from the egoic and letting it heal, integrating the ego to let it heal by the spirit. The spirit is healing that ego, healing that part of you so that the spirit can say, that's okay, little Johnny. I've got this. Let me drive the car. I'll keep loving on you. I'll keep listening to you intently. I will meet every need, but let me drive the car. Okay, Dad. Little Johnny says inside of you, okay, Dad, I got it. Well, you mean I got it, right? Oh yeah, I mean you got it, Dad. Let the spirit lead. So there's a little bit of tug of war going on until that inner child, if you will, that's been hurt and wounded starts getting healed, and then the child in the back seat starts getting less and less volatile, less and less whiny and screamy and cryy. It's the spirit that's leading now. And this is where it gets really adventurous and fun because it's effortless. It's not really our effort doing it, it's a spirit in us flowing it. It's a spirit in us leading it. It's a spirit in us moving it. And then we match other people that are in that level of frequency, if you will, vibing at that place. And then all of a sudden it becomes synchronistic. And then you start getting opportunities, doors start opening, money starts showing up. You find money on the ground. Somebody hands you some cash. Some opportunity comes up, and it's like this the amount, and even then some. It's always more than enough to pay that bill or bills. But people get tripped up on this in the in between. I've gotten tripped up on it. I don't know how many times thinking in the past something's wrong. I did it wrong. I blew it. I messed up somehow. I'm not worthy. It'll always come back to shame and I'm not worthy, because that's the lowest on the frequency totem pole is shame. And so the darkness always wants to pull us back down to the bottom where it lives and moves and has its being, and wants to pull everything back down with it so that it does not ascend past the hard work, sweat, and toil. That's called the tree of knowledge in the Bible. That's called efforting. That's called sweat, hard work, resistance. That it literally means laborious sweat and toil or hard work. That's what the tree of knowledge means when you look at the original meaning. And what is the tree of knowledge? It's everything institutional, meaning that the more knowledge I get, the more my ego is fed. It's like that narcissistic mind that has its supply, and then it goes out and it tries to effort its way through. Now, you can still do that, but it's going to get harder and harder and harder as the days go on, because the light is getting brighter and darkness is getting dimmer. Light is getting brighter. Doesn't matter what you see on the news. Doesn't matter what you hear from your friends, negative Nellies and knee-jerk Neds. They are living in the anchoring of watching the news and believing every bit of it. That is that egoic mindset that says, I'm afraid, so I'm going to double down on what I know. That's a tree of knowledge, what I know. Guys, we're living in and moving into this infused knowledge now. It's just, stuff flows out of you, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Well, it came from the infinite spirit, came from God. And so that place comes into us and it starts giving us answers to things that we were longing for and tried to get through all of our degrees, through all of our knowledge, through all of our hard work and toil. But now it's different. It's changed. Have you ever watched somebody just spew endless amounts of energetic revelation that is not learned through traditional schooling? Have you ever listened to that? I certainly have. There's plenty of people out there that I can name by name that it just pours through them, and you're like, there is no way they learned that in college. Those are the days we're living in right now. It's not as if that hasn't happened throughout time, but now it's exponential. It is widespread. More and more people are waking up like in a quantum way and at a quantum speed. It is amazing. You ever feel like there's something accelerating inside of you, but you can't put your finger on it? That's it. Infused knowledge, infused revelation, infused awakened insight and foresight and eyesight. You're like, whoa, where did that come from? It came from a God who loves you. It came from unconditional love. It came from the spirit realm of the galaxy that you hold inside of your multidimensional being. You are as big as the cosmos because you're one with the God of the cosmos, the God who created it all. And so, because you're one, without you realizing it or not, it is dispensing this separatism or this duality of feeling separated, but it's an illusion. It's not. You're one with love. You are one with God. You are one with all that is. You are one with the greatest power there is. but your ego doesn't believe it. And that's okay. It's an illusion. The ego is an illusion. It's just always, always anchored in the past or longing for a better tomorrow, like I said earlier. So just know that you're in this quote middle place, if you will, to try and describe it. It's hard to find language for this, but you're in this proving testing ground. It's almost like when the Navy SEALs or the Green Berets or the Special Forces go through this proving ground of Hell Week. It may feel like that to you, okay? But this too shall pass. It's temporary. You're moving through it. It's like the country song says, if you find yourself in hell, just keep moving. Just keep moving. And you will. You are. You're being carried this time. It's not your effort. You're being carried this time. So you may as well let go and drop into that river and become like water and move with the current, move with the flow. Because this is where the juicy good stuff starts showing up, the suddenlies in your life. The suddenlies start happening and you're like, whoa, I didn't do anything to earn that money. I didn't do anything to earn that opportunity. I didn't do anything to earn this wonderful. Of course, because he's taking the earn out of the learn and then putting OVE in it. It's love over learn, because learn has the word earn in it. We never were earning, but we thought we were supposed to earn. It's been an illusion all this time. We didn't have to earn. It's always been given. Everything's right here. It's just a tapping into or awakening to the reality that's always there and around us and always working for us. Guys, this is real stuff. This is not this woo-woo, weird, new agey, theoretical kind of stuff. No, this is proving ground. This is proven through science and spirituality. It shows up in our lives. It shows up in people's lives all the time. And you wonder why. Why? You wonder why your neighbor has such favor. You wonder why everything they touch turns to gold kind of thing. Everybody knows somebody like that or has been acquainted with somebody like that. Why? Why is it? Because they believe the reality of effortless existence in that deeper place, in that greater place and that deeper place. They've understood that ego only can make it so far. Knowledge can only go so far. But there's a scripture that says love passes all knowledge. Love surpasses all knowledge. Why? Because it's greater than. The tree of life is greater than the tree of knowledge. But we've based our society on the tree of knowledge. We've built societies, we've built institutions, we've built structures and edifices and mindsets and paradigms that look more Egyptian in the way of hierarchy than they do spirit, tree of life, freedom, ease, effortless flow, love, acceptance, approval, all of those wonderful things that you would think would be living in a tree of life. That's what Christ brought when he walked the earth. He came to show a new way. He came to, when home walked by, I say this often when we're talking to spiritual groups and spiritual crowds, when home walked by, what did that look like? Ooh, wait a minute, something's resonating when Jesus walked by, like that's home. That's not religion. That's home. Home is unconditional love. It's the stuff we're made of. So when home walked by, he was the embodiment of love. So when love walked by, when home walked by. See, home, a genuine home is where we can be ourselves. It's where we feel completely belonged, and a sense of belonging that goes far beyond any of our knowledge. It's an approval and a love that makes me just feel completely at home, completely at rest, completely comfortable. And I can be myself. That's home. And a sense of real deep safety and security. The only place you can find safety and security is within you, in this place called love, in this place called unconditional love, deep in your spirit. That's where you're safe. Why? Because it's indestructible. You can't kill love. Try. People have tried. Can't kill it. It's there for eternity. Sorry. It's always with us. You may not believe in love because you've been burned so bad, but love is still love. Love is eternal. Love is not going anywhere. Love is always for you. If God is for you, who can be against you? That is a 100% absolute truth. If love is for you, who can be against you? So if you know this, if you have even a sense of realizing this and awakening to it, then you know that this is just proving ground and this too shall pass. But glean from it, my friends. I'm going to leave you with this. Glean from it, learn from it. You know what I mean by learn. I talked about learn, but in other words, receive what's being shown to you because it is your ascension. It is this wonderful initiation into an effortless way. It is the entry point. It is the opening. It is the gateway to an effortless life. So imagine doing what you love, and maybe you don't know what that is. Okay, take a hobby. Imagine doing your hobby that you just love doing that gives you energy all day long and getting to do that and getting paid well for it. Just being your authentic self, just being you. And you get paid, you get to be paid for it very well. High levels of pay. The more we move into this, that is the effortless way. That's what's coming our way. So just know that money is going to show up. But what about my bills? What about my bills are late? They're behind. They're this and that. Remember, bills are anchored in a 3D egoic world. It doesn't mean that there's not mercy and grace there to take care of those things as we ascend and awaken. It just means that once we let go of those on the I don't care sea, as one person put it long ago, let them out to sea in the I don't care sea. It's okay. I'm letting it go. Then these things start showing up because we've just ascended more. We've just went higher in that balloon, so to speak. We've expanded, we've grown, we've become aware. Now they start happening. They start happening because we have matched the flow. We've matched the flow, and here we go. Let's go. All right. Hope that helps. Remember, when you drop 18 inches down, this is where life gets really adventurous, really fun, and really, really restful. All right. We'll see you on the next one.